Celebrate Kirkland's 2020 4th of July virtual parade. Celebrating 20 years and counting. First up, 2017 to 2019 parade highlights. Stay tuned for Celebrate Kirkland's photo parade with play-by-play commentary by Mayor Penny Sweet, Terry Fletcher, and Samantha St. John. First up, Demi-Decade years 2000 to 2005.
Hi, I'm Penny Sweet, your current mayor and founder of Celebrate Kirkland, which partners with the Kirkland Downtown Association in putting on the 4th of July every year. And with me are...
Hi, I'm Terry Fletcher, a local real estate broker and master of ceremonies of the 4th of July for 19 of our 20 years. I drove a convertible in the first.
And I'm Samantha St. John, the CEO of the Kirkland Chamber of Commerce, and I think I've been a part of every one of our 4th of July celebrations.
We're here to try and walk you through the years of pictures with a few anecdotes to let you have the opportunity to remember 20 years of celebrations.
First off, 2000 was the millennial, and therefore a good reason to do something really big. I was married at the time to the mayor, Larry Springer, still am, and we had received a great deal of feedback on the recent personal fireworks ban, and frankly, it was time. The neighborhoods were clamoring for a citywide celebration and fireworks. We threw together a big town hall gathering, and Celebrate Kirkland was off and running.
The first year, we only had one parade, but by the time all of the kids and their families descended onto the route off of the hills with their bikes and wagons and critters, we were way behind, so we separated into 2 events in 2001. What started with maybe up to 1,000 kids has evolved to upwards of 7,000 participants in the Kids Parade in 2019.
In 2001, Maureen Baskin, who has been with us from the beginning, shifted from running the kids component in 2000 to creating and running the Veterans Program from 2001 on. Here she is with Major William Moody. Maureen and her family have evolved this portion of our celebration into an event that honors and salutes our veterans and active duty personnel. While every year we lose older members of the group, it continues to be one of the most important parts of that day. They meet at Heritage Hall on the 4th for a reception and light lunch, followed by front and center placement in the parade. Many of these veterans, by merit of their service, have been honored as our parade grand marshals.
That's the Seattle International Children's Band, followed by the Rainbow City Band. Finding enough music has always been a challenge for we organizers. Since it's July and school just got out, and Kirkland doesn't have any summertime marching bands. The first year we put an ad in the paper, you know, it was the old days, asking for musicians to sign up to be our band. And here they are. They did, and we decorated a big sign company truck, and history was made.
The first school in the parade was Peter Kirk Elementary. There's me driving and my sister Tammy Miller in one of the other cars. Kelly Jordan is also there, who would become Penny's co-chair for many years. Mayor Springer and First Dog Pino were in a number of parades without the council. It wasn't until 2004 that we could get the whole council to join up.
There's the original KDA, or as it was then, Kirkland Downtown on the Lake, as a drill team in their glittery wigs and their I Love Kirkland Because t-shirts, followed by the early Wednesday market. Every parade had a rich and active community involvement.
There's the council in 2005, and more campaigns for and against all kinds of issues and candidates. We are an active and passionate community.
Horses. We have got to find more horses. We used to get a good group from Bridle Trails between the Brown brothers from Fox Cleaners, who were active in the Ellensburg Rodeo, and the Lake Washington Saddle Club. We are taking horse applications.
Still more community involvement. Churches, businesses, the KPC. Hey, that's my first float, made by my customers at the Grape Choice. We glued over 20,000 corks sent from all over the country to make that beauty. The Eagles went to Peter Kirk.
Kirkland American and Kirkland National have always been a big part of the parade, although they are always the last to let us know they are coming. Too busy playing softball and baseball, I guess. Lake Washington and Juanita High Schools also join in the fun every year. And of course, there's Blitz and the Seagulls. You do remember that the Seahawks were born in Kirkland.
And the neighborhoods. North Rose Hill has been in every parade. They generally had brightly colored floats in the early years. Houghton started out really strong with some great imagination. Here they are as a fleet of boats from the old Kirkland boatyards, and then in a shed they revamped for a number of years, denoting historic Houghton moments.
They actually used the shed out of Rick Whitney's backyard.
Here come the Scouts.
Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have been in the parade every year.
And Jazzercise was regular as clockwork. They worked out for the entire parade and every year till I think they might have just run out of gas. Local business participation has always been a big part of the parade. Businesses from Bikini Beach, Bombay Cutters, Roof Truss Supply, DeYoung's Plumbing, and many, many others have participated over the years.
And don't leave out the Moss Bay Book Club. These crazy ladies came first as a car full of Marilyn Monroes, then the Moss Goddesses, and finally a bit later as a rollerblade team. They were and had a lot of fun.
Here comes the Rotary Ducks every single year. Yes, there actually was a car as a grand prize. They sure sold a lot of ducks that year. That's a birthday sign for the Kirkland Centennial in 2005. Followed up by city church kids who always put on a show.
Cars of all kinds and vintages from Legends Car Club, the Evergreen Model A Club, private vehicles with proud owners, or the ever-present DeLoreans. They all show up every year for the parade, along with a retirement community or two.
2005 was Kirkland's centennial year, and we wanted 100 entries in the parade. We got 115. We were terrified that the parade would crash into itself, but we finally figured out how to configure it in a way that allowed the entries to go north on Market Street, right on past the end of the parade, coming off southbound, and it worked.
We've had 3 flyovers in our history. This was our first. The plane was a B-37 bomber. It was huge. In 2005, we also had a flyover for the Centennial, and just this past year, we had grumpy B-25D Mitchell covered the entire sky coming down over Kirkland.
Up next, demi-decade years 2006 to 2010.
By 2006, we kind of had the routine down. Terry would dress according to the theme if she could, and for a while she'd MC both from the ground for the children's parade and from the stage for the big parade. That got old fast, along with us. She wore a painter's suit as a spacesuit for the 50th anniversary of NASA, and astronaut Bonnie Dunbar was our Grand Marshal. There she is, interviewing the kids.
Our veterans' presence continued to grow both in size as well as importance. There's Jim Weaver, Major William Moody, and Admiral Horton. Prisoner of War, Joe Reagan, 3 of our Grand Marshals during that period. The Submariners joined us in force at this time. VFW 2995 is huge support. They start off the parade every single year.
Often with another set of Grand Marshals right behind them. We started judging the parade, I think, in about 2006. Our go-to band continued to be the Rainbow City Band, and they've always put on a great show, playing for the kids before and marching in the parade. Blue Thunder was a great addition and got everybody fired up.
Some newcomers to Kirkland might not know that the Seahawks used to practice here.
There's Grand Marshal Bill Woods in 2007, and astronaut Bonnie Dunbar in 2008. We had a lot of fun with the NASA theme.
Here comes brand new city manager Kurt Triplett in 2010.
There's former police chief Eric Olson. The police vehicles are always a fun addition, including a tiny pony who always said, "Whoa," to crime.
Public Works is fun too. From city vehicles to family floats, our businesses, our churches, including some rocking kids, our funky downtown parade has become an institution representative of our whole community.
City Church had this group of dancers that just stole the show. Park Place sponsored one year, and that was really fun.
A lot of cultural representation that happens in our parade, which we're really proud of in Kirkland.
HopeLink was born in Kirkland. There's Chuck Morgan in the Rotary once again, and again, and again in the duck suit. He was an institution in Kirkland, once publisher of the Journal American, co-founder of the KPC, and dubbed Mr. Kirkland. The Lee Johnson family, here's Todd and Brett and their mom Ginny, have been the longest ongoing financial supporters of our 4th of July from day one. Lee Johnson made the first donation in 1999.
Here's Steve Larian of the Kirkland Performance Center. They have done an awesome job of participating over the years. And there's Vince Isaacson for the KDA.
Followed by Mermaid Hair Extensions that presents us with actual mermaids and floats every year. There's number 1 mermaid, Cindy Reynolds, coming up in the driver's seat.
Debbie Lamont and the girls from Bombay, followed by the Kirkland Wednesday Market, showing off their fruit and veggies.
The Senior Council and Kirkland Steppers are regulars. We finally got them to ride in a car last year.
And Waste Management, that's been a presenting sponsor from the very beginning.
Oh, there's those Moss Bay ladies again. So many kids.
Kirkland Eagles always does a good job, generally with the Seahawks in mind.
They put on some pretty amazing floats.
Yeah, they have.
There's Mike Gaskell and Sibling House. Always in the parade, always keeping foster kids with siblings.
And there's the Bikini Beach Girls. They always knew how to wear one. They're followed here by Bridal Trails and Party in the Park. That's an event in Bridal Trails everyone should go to, except this year, of course.
Lake Washington Saddle Club, followed by the Ellensburg Rodeo folks.
Here are Chuck and Marty Bartlett with Dooley, Hazel, and Beans from Dooley's Doghouse, an institution on Market Street for many, many years. Sadly, Marty passed away in Greece this last year, where they have retired.
I want to say this is the Houghton Hoedown, followed by Houghton Hears a Who, Houghton Hears You. And then here come the Hot Dog USA performers and unicyclists and gymnasts.
More jazzercise, Kirkland Weddings, and Studio East. Everybody was welcome and everybody came throughout the years.
Mayor Mary Alice Burley on her scooter Bumble. And a lot of you Redmond High alumni know Mary Alice was also our teacher at Redmond High School. And Councilmember Asher driving the electric car, and politics at its best.
Always advocacy at its best. If you were a politician and wanted to get elected, you came to Kirkland's parade.
In all the years I've seen the parade, I don't think I've seen a single person booed. I think it's a great show of unity for our politicians, bringing everybody together. There's late Senator Andy Hill in his first campaign.
Kirkland City Council in a Pateras truck? What could be more right?
There's the council in 2010 in a Kirkland vintage truck. Actually, during those years, we paid for a lot of the celebration with entry fees from all of the politicians. They all had separate entries. Not so much anymore. Now they just march as Democrats or Republicans.
Back to sports teams and schools and lots of cheer squads.
They paint their cars and then they drive them around that way for weeks.
They do. Put all their names on the side, which makes it really nice if you're the one standing up there trying to announce them.
And the football players. The Kings cheer teams have done a marvelous job over the years. The Klondorkas, a staple in the parade. You know, what's beautiful about this is that as we have grown with the parade, it's just become more and more of a community thing. There's just not a kid who grows up in Kirkland who is not part of the parade.
The Moss Bay Book Club slugging it out as roller derby queens. Not sure how we got that in with the real sports teams. Lots of scouts these years.
Here come the always present DeLoreans. We always get a lot of DeLoreans in the parade. And look at those crowds.
And Butch's cool bus, which we filled with a group of senior citizens who caused quite a lot of trouble with their water shooters and guns. Fancy cars really don't like water.
Right, that's right.
And we've had a lot of fancy cars. Cars. We get so many cars every year. There's something about people wanting to drive their car through town, even race cars.
And a big crowd pleaser are fire trucks. We always love seeing the fire trucks because it means the work for the day is about halfway over.
Up next, Demi-Decade years 2011 to 2015.
Terry's grandstand setup is always important and crazy. Setting up for the judges and sound was just a part of it. By parade time, she had compiled a giant notebook with all of the scripts prepared for every entry, in order, and rue the entry that didn't provide one.
Also, Sue and Santos Contreras became a really large part of the grandstand. Sue came up with a great idea to bring in bleachers from the local Little League baseball field and sell tickets, which she did very well, and Santos became head of security, and every year I would promote him. The Historical Flight Foundation provided our flyovers for us. They were established in 2003 by pilot John T. Sessions. They're based out of Painfield in Everett. We've had 3 to 5 flyovers over the years.
The kids' parade doesn't change much year to year, but the kids sure do.
There's the Boy Scouts, helping to lead the veterans. One year, the veteran, and next year, remembering the veteran who has passed.
We had a display of military vehicles one year that was amazing, and the vets absolutely loved riding in them, regardless of how hard it was to load them in. The other years, Lee Johnson or Fort of Kirkland would carry our veterans. We always had support for them and wanted it to be special, but boy, they loved those old military vehicles.
We remembered with family members of those who have died in service. East Side Fire pipes and drums came to honor the vets. They marched once with them and then again with Kirkland Fire.
That's the Waconia High School Marching Band. They were from Michigan and chose to come to Kirkland for our parade. The fact is they came to see Seattle, but chose instead to come play in the pavilion that evening after the parade and watch our fireworks. They were phenomenal, and in those uniforms, it was the hottest 4th of July ever.
Followed by our favorite Rainbow City Band and the Saskatoon Lions Band. Doesn't everybody want to come to Kirkland for the 4th of July?
Good old Bikini Beach, so patriotic and a little controversial. There's Bombay haircutters and mermaids, mermaids, and more mermaids. Plaza Garcia has done an amazing job with their brightly colored and talented dancing team. We would love to have them back.
And we always get back the ubiquitous Rotary. The Seafair Pirates have been with us 3 or 4 times, but their cannon upsets so many cats, dogs, children, and others that we have to space them out a lot. Moby Duck, however, is a very impressive float.
Studio East kids always make a great showing, along with everybody else's kids. We see so much talent every year.
Georgia's tries hard to be a winner and gets a little annoyed when they're not. Athena and daughter Lena put it together, and the rest of the family and Pete just ride along, often shooting water guns. We love you, Georges.
Miss Washington joined us one year. She was special, but never so special as Seattle's princesses. They have been with us for years, walking first with the kids in the children's parade and then again in the big parade.
Eastside Tennis Center had a great entry that got split up in this video by a bunch of big trucks, Young Do, Girl Scouts, off-leash dogs, well, they were on the leash, dancers, angelfish swimming, and a bunch of old people in a bus.
Cub Scout Pack 559 always on board, followed by Girl Scouts and unicyclists and many, many more unicyclists. How do they do that?
There's the rest of the tennis center. They chased that ball for a good 10 miles on the route.
Here comes Summerfest 2.0.
There's council in a public works truck. Then they did a fire truck. Councilmember Doreen Marchioni. Bring on the elections. Here's Toby Nixon, Dave Asher, Larry Springer, Jane Haig, Jay Inslee, Jim Hart, Bill Finkbeiner, just to name a few. It's a really fun event on the campaign trail.
Another demi-decade of Kirkland athletics and the cheer squads that support them with energy and enthusiasm, and champions all of them across the board.
The Kirkland Classic Car Show was founded in 2003 with our friend Dick Bazell and brought us many years of great shows in downtown Kirkland. We originally started the car show to bring business to the downtown core, and it worked. Those cars, coupled with the Seahawk vehicles, Hawked Out vehicles, and Wheels of Boom, really added to our parade.
And of course, we always finish with Kirkland Fire's ladder truck. That self-same ladder truck that put the star on top of our holiday tree one year. Sometime ask me and I'll tell you that story.
Up next, demi-decade years 2016 to 2020.
Joe Kreka. He was a prisoner of war, as I recall.
And Michael Reagan, riding with John DeVore, and our Gold Star. Mainstay 2995, and the Submarine Veterans, who actually won 2 years ago for Most Patriotic.
There's our totally restored Kirkland police car, a 1946 Ford. There's Fire Captain Joe and the City Council in our totally restored antique fire truck, restored by our firefighters.
Some more mermaids, and they won Best of Show last year. The only reason they probably hadn't won earlier is this float. Falun Da was amazing in 2017 and 2018. We had great weather for the 4th of July almost every single year.
I think it only sprinkled 2 years out of the 19 years.
Here comes Kirkland Safe. In response to the charged political environment of the last few years, at the request of the community, our council adopted the values of safety and inclusion. We even created a resolution in support of that value. These parade pictures depict some of the folks and the organizations that have helped us to stay safe and inclusive. And so it has been 20 years of memories and merrymaking and celebrating the amazing community we are. The intention of Celebrate Kirkland from the very beginning was to get folks in our community with their families and friends to sit down, butt to butt on the sidewalk, and share a common experience that would help to bind us together and make us mindful of all that we have. There are way too many things in our busy existences that drive us apart, so we come together this one day a year and simply celebrate. We celebrate our country's birthday, the service of our military and veterans, the efforts of our athletes and sports teams. We celebrate the businesses, nonprofits, and organizations that call Kirkland home. We celebrate our independence and ability to vote the way we choose to. We celebrate the schools and churches that educate our youth and support our beliefs. This year, we celebrate each other and our community by staying home and staying healthy. Happy 4th of July to all of you.
Veterans Parade alumni photos.
We saw a lot of this on the video, so I'll mention Joe Krecka, Vietnam veteran, who was shot down in 1966 and spent 7 years in Hanoi Hilton next door to John McCain. And also Michael Reagan, a Vietnam veteran and artist who is the recipient of Citizens Before Self-Honor Medal, gifting over 7,000 portraits to families of fallen heroes. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for tuning in to the Celebrate Kirkland 2020 4th of July virtual parade. You can also enjoy the Celebrate Kirkland virtual fireworks on YouTube and Facebook.